Welcome to the Molybdenum Software Show, where it's not really a show; it's just us recording what we are contributing to. Or we're trying to contribute to open source. I hope something comes of. I think we did, at the very least so far, as feedback to existing projects. I think NCI is certainly one of them. And hopefully the PR tracker, which might end up being more than just a PR tracker, but hopefully we can get it landed. But before we get back to that, I'd like to talk about this contribution that you made, Jeremy, to non-LS. I have it set up, and what it is using nixfmt, the nix command nixfmt, as a formatter in NeoVim. And that is slightly better than just setting up my editor to run nixfmt. And maybe it's much better depending on the size of your project.
It'll certainly help if Nix evaluation time is noticeable, which it always is, even for very small flakes. And the fact that it's like doing a reformat in a way that NeoVim's aware of means I think you get a better experience than if you were to just do like colon, bang, nixfmt, %. Like I think that would update a file and then NeoVim would like say, oh, this file changed. And then it would like ask you if you want to reload your buffer.
And then there's two keystrokes I have to do to accept that.
Yeah.
For some reason. So, and I want to. I have it set up already, but it includes a patch at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if that's landed in Nix packages yet. I was actually just trying to update my system before this meeting. I didn't. I don't know what's going on. I'm like rebuilding LLVM for some reason. So something weird has happened with my relationship with the binary cache.
So here is me bumping Nix packages.
Okay.
Do a Nix flake check. I commit before I do Nix flake check in order to enjoy the evaluation cache.
Makes sense.
By the way, unrelated, since recently I cannot do the Nix flake check in GitHub Actions because it runs out of space.
Oh, this is for your infra repo?
Yes.
Bummer. Disk space.
Yes. I'm not sure what to do about that.
Would it help if you split it into multiple jobs? Or is it?
Multiple jobs. I think so. Yeah.
I mean, are you just defining like one NixOS configuration or maybe two, one for your desktop and one for your laptop?
3.
Yeah. So it's like possible that building them one at a time wouldn't help. Like the disk space needed to build any of them is still larger than maybe what GitHub's willing to give you.
I think I think possibly some would succeed and some would fail. There's also I have compilation of Rust of some Rust programs here. So like I don't want to work around things. I just don't want to have the limitation.
Well, switch to a different CI system.
Or do it local. Keep like I do it locally on my desktop, but my laptop is not fast enough. Well, you can see how long this takes, but some of it is downloading.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not a big
Is
deal
it?
on the laptop. It's a bigger deal. I
Yeah.
don't do it there. Okay, so since this succeeded, I'll do a switch back to main and merge it there. Delete that branch and push this. And now I would like to see, here's my editor. Just a little demonstration. If I bring something out of alignment here,
Yeah.
I should be able to just save.
Perfect. There it is.
But in a Rust project, a project where there is an existing formatting LSP server that provides formatting, I'm not sure what happens because now there would be two. Well, in a Rust project that has Nix Fumt, that is.
I
That
mean,
makes sense.
if you copied my personal configuration, the
Here is PR tracker.
format on save stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I've got things set up so that the only LSP server that formats on save is none ls.
Well, I did copy. So this is NixVim, LSP
Yeah,
keymaps, LSP buff. This is something that you don't use, if I remember
right.
correctly.
I don't have a shortcut like that, right?
And
But
this is
maybe I
what
should.
the two plugins are involved. LSP format
Yeah.
enabled, and then LSP service to enable none. So just to be clear, this does not go through LSP format,
Oh, it doesn't? Oh, sorry.
right?
Yes. Right.
This
LSP
just
format the plugin. There's
right,
the function it calls is like LSP dot format or something.
right. This bypasses the plugin,
Right.
and
So
this
that one would
because
have an issue.
so what does this do?
I think it tells each LSP server
Each
that has said, I know how to format files of this file type. Hey, take a swing at this thing.
right,
And I don't know if it like does them serially or it seems like it would have to do them serially, right? Because two made changes. Or I really don't know.
and I'll get back to this, but in an ideal world, so sorry, so LSP format uh, does like a handful of things, but I think what we are using it for is format on save.
Right.
because there is no such feature, although it's a tiny feature, right? Like, what is format and save? But I think because if you just wanted format and save, you'd have a key map that does format and then save. But that would be a synchronous format and then save.
Right.
What LSP format does is, I don't know what it does. What is its format on save?
Yeah, I think it does an asynchronous format on save, but a synchronous format on save if you're exiting at the same time. So it handles that like
Okay.
I'm closing and I'm
Well,
saving
what
and
is an
exiting.
asynchronous format on save? Is it format? Is it save and then asynchronous format, or what happens?
What order does it happen in?
Yes. What is an asynchronous format on save?
I don't know, or I don't. Yeah, the asynchronous part is that it doesn't block your editor. You can keep navigating around and editing while that's
Sure.
happening. And then the ordering of like, does it save the file and then feed the file to the LSP server, or does it feed the buffer in memory to the LSP server, update its in-memory representation, and then save the file? I don't know.
So okay, so there's a question there. I think it's a relevant question because of cancellation, because asynchronous formatting can fail, right?
I mean, I suppose synchronous formatting can fail too.
Right. But with when what you want is to save afterward, then if this formatting fails, then does
Right.
it not save?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it
There's a
probably
question.
saves and
Hmm.
then formats and then possibly saves again. So yeah, you're probably right. It probably results in two writes to the file system.
Okay. And then there's nonetheless, which is integrated with LSP format. Is nonetheless integration with LSP format a Nixvim thing, or is it a nonetheless thing?
It's a Nix Vim thing, specifically where you say, I don't see it
You don't see
somewhere
it
on your.
here because I didn't bother copying it from yours because it's by default it's enabled.
Oh, okay, got it. Interesting. Um, but yeah, there's a Nix Vim thing that says like, oh, every LSP uh server will also get wired up to LSP format the plugin, and so that's like I believe that's a Nix Vim thing. That isn't exactly what I wanted because and now that like we're talking about this, like I wonder if actually what I should have done is figured out a way to register all my LSP servers in a way that they just didn't advertise the ability to format. And then I wouldn't have to be messing around with this, like, which LSPs does NeoVim ask to do the format? It would just be like the way that they're registered. They just don't say they know how to format, and that might be less weird.
Let's keep that in mind for one more moment, just to go over what nonetheless is for at all, because I've been trying to wrap my mind around it several times. It seemed my best understanding is that it seems like kind of a workaround for a design choice in NeoVim.
Yeah, that might be a fair way of putting it. Like the way I would describe what nonetheless is a little more concretely is like there are lots of utilities, CLI utilities that do useful things with source code, you know, linters, shell check is maybe the greatest example of them, right? You know, running against a shell script and it prints out errors or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not an LSP server, but it's still like useful to have hooked into all of NeoVim's LSP infrastructure. And shell check isn't the only thing that has that property. Nixfunkt
What
is another
is
one.
NeoVim's LSP infrastructure?
There are helper functions like a Lua function vim.lsp.format, which is the one that you're calling on line 4 up there. That's like very much part of the LSP infrastructure. It under the hood, the Lua function looks at all the registered, all the LSP servers attached to the buffer, and then, like I said, probably goes and asks each of them, hey, format this buffer if you know how to format buffers or format this file or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or the ability to run code actions.
yeah, code actions, diagnostics are another one. Lints, warnings and errors.
Mm-hmm. And those are, so that infrastructure, the way to hook into it is to provide, right? So the term is to provide any of these capabilities
Right.
to NeoVim is to be an LSP server.
Yeah, I mean, under the hood, nonetheless is not actually an LSP server. Like, it is not.
But that's what
You
it
could,
registers itself
yeah,
as, right? If I do LSP info in this file now, configured servers, they are okay, those are the ones I have configured. LSP configs active in this buffer. The detected file type is Nix, and there are two clients attached. There is NixD, which is a real LSP
right,
server, and there's null ls, which is the name of non-ls before it was forked from null ls.
right. And notably, it does not have a executable, right? So, like the NixD client, like there's an actual process running on your computer right now,
Right.
an LSP server in like the Microsoft sense of the word. But there is no like null ls server. Talking about it right now, null ls probably could have been written as a proper LSP server, and then wouldn't have even had to be a NeoVim specific tool. I'm not sure why the creator opted to build it the way he did. But it's integrating at like the Lua level with NeoVim's LSP infrastructure, rather than integrating at like the Unix socket layer, which is how all other LSPs work that I'm familiar with, at least.
So it's interesting that it doesn't have to be an executable.
Yeah, that's like a NeoVim specific quirk, is like for all the things that it could talk to a real LSP server over a socket for, you could instead just implement a Lua signature, like collection of methods, obey
So
the,
that distinction is a NeoVim feature.
yeah, like it's possible
NeoVim is
that like,
aware of whether it's over the socket or
yeah,
a Lua function.
right. And it's possible that other editors like Helix, which are super LSP focused, don't provide a like non-socket way of communicating with an LSP client. It's just like a
Or
design
VS Code.
decision by NeoVim that none ls opted to take advantage of. And if you ask me, talking about it with you right now, it seems kind of odd. Like if NeoVim hadn't built it this way, if NeoVim hadn't provided this option, then
Mm-hmm.
null ls would have been forced to just make a proper LSP server, which maybe would have benefited other editors like Helix or VS Code or whatever. So I'm not really sure. I don't know that it's benefiting from operating at this non-socket layer, so it smells odd to me.
But also, um, um, so Okay, that's fine. We can go deeper into that, but I think that's so. In a perfect world, I'd be able to say, um, I'd be able to have a choice. Something like, sorry, in a perfect, just restart that. In a perfect world, a project would that uses Nixfunt, that provides the Nixfunt capability, my editor would know not to use any other formatter.
Right.
So is there any path towards that?
Well, my attitude to maybe state, maybe this is the exact same thing you said, or maybe this is a slightly different philosophy. So my personal attitude is I do not want my editor auto-formatting files unless my editor knows what's actually enforced by the project I'm working on.
Right.
And there's
Yeah, that makes
no
sense. That makes sense.
because right, I don't want to just start working on some random project, touch a file, and then every line changed, right? Like that's
Right.
makes your PRs impossible to read and can be very hard to undo, when you are trying to put together a minimal PR for someone. So if there was the only standard that I'm familiar with of like this is what's actually likely to be enforced by the project I'm working on is Nixfunt. So my attitude is I don't want my editor to do any auto formatting unless I'm in a project that has a flake with a Nixfunt command.
And do we have that in what you have and what I've copy pasted from you?
I mean, I think you have it for the save because of line 8, but I think your leader F would
Well, that's not
trigger.
autosave. Yeah.
I think that would do a format that would potentially like format more of the file than
Yes.
is enforced by the project. But maybe that's how you want that to behave.
Uh, well, nothing forces me to press that button.
Right. Yeah. So if you just want it as like I just want to format this damn file. Like I'm working on a project that I don't know. I haven't even created a Git repo. I'm working on some random Python file that isn't even part of a project or something, and I just want to format the damn thing. That might be nice because I do suffer from that now. Now that I've gotten so opinionated about when my editor's allowed to auto format, when I just like start writing a random Python file somewhere, I don't have auto formatting, and that feels like, oh, okay. I guess I really go to the hassle of creating a Nix project just for this one-off script that I'm writing.
Mm-hmm. So, what is nonetheless is but always an LSP server for every language? How does that work?
It has this like concept of built-ins that you turn on. So you've got, or they're called sources, maybe. The vocabulary is a little unclear to me, but
So if I open the README Markdown file here and I do
yeah,
LSP info, I have
LLS,
nonetheless. I also have Nixd. do I?
not
What do I
attached to
have?
this buffer.
Not not attached to this buffer.
Yeah, so the client's still running because you've got other buffers open.
I get it. Okay. So nonetheless is always attached to all the buffers.
Well, that's because of the built-in that I wrote that you're using. Because the built-in that I wrote
So the
says I know
built-ins.
how to format everything.
Oh, that's hacky.
Yeah,
This one.
yeah.
This one
Nix
that
Flinkfunkt, if you look at it, it'll have a glob for file
this adds
types.
it. This patch adds the built-in.
Yeah. So if you look at that PR, for instance, you can see the line of code where
Mm-hmm.
the built-in says these are the file types I support, and it's like star or something.
Okay.
And since it only does things to them if it discovers that you're in a flake that has a Nix funct, it's like technically correct. But yeah, you know, a cooler version of this, I guess, would be something that's like aware of tree funct and knows which files tree funct knows how to format and only registers
No, no,
itself.
no. Hold on. You said trifunct, but
I know.
this
Yes.
is
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
trifunct
That's
is
where I was going, but thank you for
okay.
thank you for seeing where I was going with that. So yeah, there's like, is Nix funct really the right like abstraction for this stuff? Like, I don't know. I like it because I'm like in the Nix ecosystem and it like seems to be somewhat popular amongst the Nix projects that I work on, but a lot of them are projects I work on with you. So uh but it's like there's no specification managed by Nix that says what a Nix funct command must or must not do, right? Like a Nix funct command could just do an rm-r slash, right? Like, which would be a weird thing for it to do and a malicious thing for it to do, but it could. Um, it doesn't even say that it has to format. I think there's uncertainty within the community about if Nix funct is meant to be more like a cargo funct, and a cargo funct is not a tool to format your repository, right? Cargo funct is a tool to format all the Rust files in your
Mm-hmm.
current project. And I think at least some people in the Nix community expect Nix funct to work that way someday, which is like diametrically opposed to what tree funct Nix does and the this nonetheless plugin that we're talking about right now. So I really don't know where this is all going to be in a year or three.
That ship probably sailed, and I think everyone's like, who's not happy about this? It's great. Yeah, Nix filmed and it films all the
I think it's
languages
great.
that is configured,
I totally agree.
and I haven't even seen anything else that attempts to implement Nix filmed other than tree filmed Nix.
Right. I would certainly like it if it was a command we could all feel safe running, even on untrusted repositories. Because I do feel a little anxious about opening random Nix projects in Vim and hitting save now.
Hmm. That's also always the case when there's a Nix shell, right?
Yeah, if you load a Nix shell, it could do arbitrary stuff. Yeah, but that's like always it's an explicit thing, right? You do Nix develop or you run dir env allow. This is
Mm-hmm.
just you open a file with Vim, and if you hit save, arbitrary code starts running on your computer.
Well, that sounds like something that should be like the minimum thing to do is to have some kind of an allow mechanism.
Yeah, and I don't know if NeoVim, like VS Code has some generic mechanism for that, right? Like you open a folder and then says, do you trust the code in this project or whatever? And I don't know if NeoVim has something like that, because I sure would love to not build the UI and storing the state, and rather that like live in core NeoVim.
Either there is a core NeoVim thing, or there is some Lua library,
Yeah.
or
So that's been on my list of like things to look into, is like what's the state of the NeoVim ecosystem with regards to like trusting and not trusting projects.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody listening knows anything, save me from doing the research. I'd appreciate that. Let us know.
Yeah. Well, this is the Molybdenum Software Show. It's not full-time Nix, but perhaps we should maybe when the story is a little bit nicer, maybe that a little bit more progress, we could make an episode in Full-Time Mix about this.
Well, it's not even a. This isn't even a Nix question. It's a NeoVim question.
Sure, there's enough overlap for a short episode that some could skip if they don't not NeoVim users.
Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for advertising this.
You're welcome. Thank you for making it. And
this is like a 4-month project. Like, I wasn't working on it every day, but started working on this forever ago. Like, resulted in me becoming a tree-fumped maintainer, and then like multiple PRs to, non-LS and Nix and NeoVim. But anyways, it's finally there.
I'm trying to understand how to use this. LSP servers to enable equals none. So how does that not result in this not
I'm confused about that
being
too.
disabled?
That I don't understand. I'm surprised you didn't have to add the line of code I have, which maybe means I fundamentally misunderstand a lot more than I thought I did. What's the line of code I have that you didn't copy over?
It doesn't have to do with any of that, with this question.
So
it's just
the line of...
It's just the integration between non-LS and the LSP format.
Right. And so what I thought was line 8 there, LSP servers to enable, meant that LSP format wouldn't do any formatting on save until you enabled some LSP server. But you haven't done that.
Let's see what it says. Choose the LSP servers for which LSP format should be enabled. The default. Enable formatting for all language servers. What does it mean that LSP format is enabled for?
It's awkward phrasing, but I think what it means is when LSP format decides to format a buffer, these are the LSP servers that it's willing to ask to format the buffer.
So the use case for none, do not enable any formatting on any language server. You might choose this if for some reason you want to manually call require LSP format on attach client in the onAttach function of your language server. So the onAttach function of some language server, I would do this.
Right. But
NixVim
has an option to do this for you, which is that line of code I keep talking about, the one that you didn't copy over.
List of LS names. Okay. So, and that's non-LS, enable LSP format. Automatically configure non-LS to use the LSP format plugin. Enabled automatically when plugin's LSP format is enabled. I read this.
Okay. Yeah.
See, default is plugins LSP format enabled. So it's on. It's true for us.
Okay. Yeah. So then I guess the question is, maybe you've got, or maybe I too have this configured for more servers than I realized.
Oh. options. Setup options. Set a custom on attach when enable LSP format is enabled. Fix me using make if make default better, but that would make it difficult to implement. The has no effect warning. Setup options, config settings, merge with lib, optional adders. This is conditional on enable LSP format, and that this is not defined.
Yeah,
Config
because it's
settings
trying
on
to
attach.
set that value itself.
On at and this is raw.
Make raw.
Require LSP format on attach, and this is called with I don't know what, like with nothing probably.
I guess so. Yeah. Or maybe on attach has some standard arguments.
So this will happen for each server.
Yeah. So I think what would be interesting right now is if you opened up a Rust file in our project and ran like null ls info, maybe
The
we'll see.
moment.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm back.
All good. So I think we could test experimentally the thing you were asking. Like if we go to PR tracker, open a Rust file, and look at
Okay,
null
here's PR
ls
tracker.
info.
The shell is on,
Yeah.
which means we should have Rust Analyzer here. If I open a, let me just do management here. Okay. So here's the Rust file. Discovering Nixfund entry point. Did you see that?
That's it. That means it worked.
Right. And I wanted to get to this point because this is how I played with it. This is how I tested it.
Mm-hmm.
Just let Rust Analyzer complete it.
Perfect.
Obviously, using my key binding, I'll use my key binding for format. What I see is that both of them have been used. Did you see that?
Oh, okay. Yep. And does that also happen on save?
Both. And on save,
You see Rust Analyzer and Cargo Clippy there.
yes, but Rust Analyzer, checks on save. So that always was the case that when I saved, you'd see Rust Analyzer here.
Well, maybe you can just edit our tree funked Nix file to turn off Rust formatting and see what happens when you save. Wait, do we not actually format Rust code here? Alejandra, Prettier, and Tom.
Huh.
Is NCI doing this for us?
It's not the NCI branch yet.
Okay. So does
Create details
Nixfunk
here.
just not format Rust code?
No, here. It's here.
Ah, we just put it somewhere else. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so if you comment that out.
Comment enable true. Now if I save, whatever, it'll still. So this is
right.
Nix code anyway.
But now this is where you're going to have to restart the none-ls LSP server because it does cache
I'm going back
the
to a
entry point.
Rust file here. And how do I restart?
LSP restart, like
LSP
capital
restart.
L, yeah, and then space, and then or I guess that'll probably restart everything. Huh. It didn't say discovering entry point, so I guess let's see what happens.
I made a modification that is incorrect formatting, and I'll hit save. That seems like the same.
Yeah. And then, do you mind opening a fresh neovide just to confirm that it's not a stupid caching thing?
Open a different Rust file so we don't have conflict.
Cool.
Should I try the same?
Yep.
I saved, and it did not reformat.
Okay. So I'm going to make a note to myself that LSP restart did not have the effect we expected. That LSP restart, I worked to make it so that it would discard that cache, but I don't know. These PRs sat around for a while and maybe something happened. LSP restart not.
I'll close the first editor.
So now my surprise is why. What is it? Crustacean Vim? Rustation Vim? Is that what we're using?
No. Yeah, Rustation.
So is the way that Rustation Vim is set up not also automatically setting up LSP format? Because you showed me the docs for none-ls.
Not LSP format. Just regular, just provides a formatting capability through LSP, I suppose.
Okay. So maybe that's just the weird, surprising thing. Because we were looking at the docs for none-ls on NixVim.
Yes.
And it said, hey, this will default to enabling the integration with the LSP format plugin.
Yes.
It's kind of weird because there's no special relationship between none-ls and LSP format. So I guess I sort of assumed when you showed me that we would see an analogous thing for every LSP server in NixVim.
But why? And why is it? Why does it need that at all? Well, what? I mean, because it seems like none of this is perfectly capable of what of asking NeoVim for what LSP servers are currently attached to the active on the buffer.
Yeah, and so that's what would be if you set that setting that I set to none. If you set it to all, that would do what you want, or that would do the thing you just described.
Mm-hmm. So why? What is the meaning of that integration between none-ls and the LSP format?
Well, it's yeah, okay. I don't have a good answer. I don't know. Like for me, I thought it was useful to do this like disable every LSP server for the LSP format plugin, and then turn it on for exactly the one that I wanted to use. But then I hadn't noticed that it defaulted to on anyways, which then makes me wonder if there are other LSP servers for which there's a similar setting that also defaults to on.
Well, it's easy to go into the docs and There's a search feature. We could do
Yeah, like how many enable LSP
LSP
formats are there?
format. This is LSP conform nvim. I'm not sure that this is a good result. No, not a good result. The search
Well,
is
maybe
not
try searching for that
strict enough.
exact setting. The it was enable LSP format.
Okay. So that was in nonetheless.
Yeah,
You
that one.
would expect more of these. More of these.
Now I'm confused. Are we like searching
No, we're searching everything.
specific?
There's no. There's no search result. But what if I'm on a different page, like in home? No search result.
But that's ridiculous. We just
There's
copied
an
that from somewhere.
option with that name.
Yeah. But the search is a little borked.
Maybe it doesn't. It doesn't search in option names.
Right. Yeah, I guess it could just be searching the body.
Let's search for the word behavior. There's a bunch of behavior.
Yeah. Eh,
Not sure what's going on here. But Rustation Vim doesn't.
Yeah, that's surprising to me. Why doesn't Rustation Vim have an analogous setting? And why doesn't it default it on? Why the asymmetry?
Doesn't have much really.
Yeah.
Settings are internal, are upstream setting. That's it. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm gonna get some water.
All right.
So I checked my clone of NixVim and I searched for that setting, enable LSP format,
Mm-hmm.
and the only occurrence of that keyword, that string, is in the nonls plugin.
Okay.
I don't know why.
We could take a look at what it actually ends up doing. Here's uh, what is it called? Enable LSP format.
Yeah.
Let's set it to false. Well, I think what I want to do is to keep it. So I'll do Nix build, Nix Vim. And I will move that result to result original, and then I'll make it false, build another one.
So I did a little digging. Here's a link. This is the issue that resulted in that setting being added.
Now I will do Nix diff between result original and result. I think I need, yeah.
Awesome.
We have a diff here. Let's see if we can find it.
There it is on attach.
require null ls. So with it, we have an onAttach. Is it called a property in Dua?
I don't know. Property is a good word, though.
Passed to null ls that registers it as an LSP client for LSP format explicitly.
Yeah, I don't understand why LSP format and nonetheless have this special relationship.
Okay, and you said you saw a PR that introduced
Yeah, I
this?
added a link in our Riverside chat here.
LSP format doesn't work easily with nonetheless. Dlib Dane Lipscomb. Follow everyone. Says to make nonetheless work with LSP format, you need to add a custom onAttach. This could be automatic depending on if LSP format is enabled or an extra option or not. Gaetan says, indeed, this is a good idea. I propose to add an option with this PR. And that probably is simply a change to make raw for some reason. Let's skip that, it's irrelevant. Here's the option with its default of LSP format enable. What? Something. Seems like not a small change. Oof. Maybe white space.
I think the important part is the onAttach.
Now there's onAttach prime. Where is that from?
So I think like 245 is the part that my eye was on. Yeah, the require LSP format onAttach.
This is Nick's code. If CFG, and we read this. Okay, but we don't know why the claim, right? Why the claim that it doesn't work easily? Why does it require?
Yeah, what is it about nonetheless that makes it hard to set up? Like, that setting seems to me like it should exist for every LSP. Or should, like, it seems to me like it would be equally hard to turn this on for a station Vim or
Let's
whatever.
test. Is it really necessary? Okay, now it's with false, right?
Okay.
So here is an. I can run it. I can run the editor here. I think we already made the change, right? So we have this. Sorry, wrong. Oh, Here's the div. We really want Rust Funked here. I'm going to restore this.
Mm-hmm.
And next run the editor. And this will be without with this option explicitly at false.
Okay.
Which would mean what? We can try a Nix file here.
Yep. So I expect it to not get auto-formatted.
Oop, it does not.
And I think if you delete or comment out the line of code that says equals none, then I think it'll start auto-formatting. Yeah, that one.
Saving. No.
Okay, I was wrong.
So there's something special about nonetheless that LSP format does not pick it up. If we
Yeah,
do
I don't know.
LSP info, 2 clients attached, NixD and nonetheless, so it is attached.
Yep.
So the way in which LSP format, I mean, there must be something special about nonetheless.
Oh.
Because if I go to a Rust file now, right, that's the theory. That's supposed to be the difference, right? If I go to a Rust file and make a change and save, LSP format should format it because it's not being done through nonetheless. Because I have a formatter here.
Okay, let's see.
This
Yep.
does.
Yep. Okay. All right. I feel like this is ringing a slight bell for something I stumbled across during my nonetheless work that I didn't totally grok at the time. But I think there's something about okay, so remember how you pointed out how you were running LSP info, you were looking at the clients attached to the buffer, and you noticed regardless of which file we opened, nonetheless was attached. But Rust Analyzer was more clever, right? And I said, oh, that's because of the plugin I wrote for nonetheless. Because the plugin I wrote for nonetheless says I look at every file type. I wonder, I may have been wrong about that. That may just be the way nonetheless works. Because when it
Just
starts up
test
or
that.
whatever.
I'm going
Yeah.
to not.
How would you test?
Just not require your.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
This would this do it, or do I have to remove the patch?
I think that would do it. Yeah.
So if I disable this, you know what? Let's just not
Sure.
gamble. Just remove the patch as well.
Great.
And then, if it's still on every, nonetheless on still on every, on both Rust and Nix.
Then that's just the way nonetheless works.
Right. Okay. So I save this. Go over here. Close this editor.
Mm-hmm.
And run it again from source. it seems unlikely that it's even a good idea that a single provider changes fundamentally the way that nonetheless works, unless this is not really a change to how nonetheless works, because it's not providers are expected to declare which file types they
Yeah,
work
I
for.
mean, nonetheless is weird because it's this like amalgamation of tools, and depending on how you've configured it, some tools may or may not be turned on, and so nonetheless may or may not care about Python files, for example.
Okay, so flake.nix,
Yeah.
I don't see nonetheless. I don't see it here.
Okay.
I didn't see it on the right. So LSP info,
Okay.
it's not here. It's only
All right.
nixd.
Okay. Cool. So whatever I was
If I
thinking
go
doesn't.
to main rs, LSP info, same. It's only Rust analyzer.
Okay.
In fact, I don't even see it in the active clients at all, which makes sense, right? It's so what makes it
Yeah.
so if ever you hit a file that for which there is a client, so it started and then it just remains active until you close the editor.
Right. Or maybe yeah, maybe until you close the buffer. I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, I still don't. I don't know the answer to what is special about nonetheless. Like we've experimentally confirmed that it is special.
In what right? In for the sake of LSP format plugin.
Right. Right. And my guess is it's not anything about the. Well, oh no, no, it must be something. Okay. So what if we explicitly call the Lua lsp.buff.format function? That would, right? Yeah, that. Okay. That presumably would work, right? Like if we re-enabled the nixfunct built-in source for nonels, and then explicitly called the Lua format function using your like leader F formatter, that would actually format the file, right?
Yes, because that does not have to do with LSP format.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I guess the question is like, what is it about LSP format? No.
Okay. Well, is this just curiosity at this point? Because it started out as just curiosity, right? Like we saw this option, we said,
Yeah.
why does it need that
You asked a
special?
question I thought I knew the answer to, and now I realize I do not know the answer to it. It's making me realize a different, deeper question. So
Okay, then it's
yeah.
a question. Now I have a different concern. My concern is that I don't want to stay with the patch. So how do I know? I don't want to keep the patch. I want as soon as it's in Nix. How do I know that it's in Nix packages?
Well, that's why I follow that pattern that you're using. The up rather than setting source equals, which is a set it and forget it and you'll never think about it again sort of thing. Having this list of patches
The
that you
patch will
apply onto
fail.
exactly. So this is how I've been like sitting on top of all my patches. I just look forward to the day that my patches don't apply, because once they don't apply, that means they finally landed in Nix packages.
Okay, fine. So I have no concern. I will just get what a diff. I'll just restore this.
The thing that'll be harder to remember is that note below. Like someday NixVim they've got
This.
code that auto generates their Nix options for nonels, and we're gonna get a nice, pretty pure Nix way of doing this someday. But I'm not gonna remember.
Fine. So what?
Yeah, exactly. So what?
Okay, but so to summarize, my space F key binding on line 4 is will remain kind of strange in a project that has nixfunked because it most likely will use multiple or probably the same formatter twice.
Yeah, like one through tree fumped and one directly.
Yes.
Yeah. Or
Which
maybe I'm wrong, and maybe
what?
NeoVim just chooses one arbitrarily to, you know, I really don't know.
Well, in any case, it's like it's not really a problem until it's a problem. I haven't seen it be a problem.
Hmm.
It just theoretically sounded not optimal.
I agree.
So, and in in any case as well, also the plan is not to use this, but to format on say, which I'm not used to, but also like what is the reasoning behind format on say? Why this marriage between save and format?
Uh, I think it's nice to not have things reformatting when you're in the middle of typing, because that could be quite weird, right? Like if you're, I mean, usually when you're typing, you don't even have a syntactically valid file.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess saving is a pretty good heuristic for there's probably an AST.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, I accept it. I knew that I was asking kind of a, but I like asking those questions as well.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly hadn't thought through it, so it's an interesting question.
So this takes care of not auto like we. So it's kind of a it's kind of an kind of a more rare way of using LSP format. We want exactly
Yeah.
one only non-ls used through LSP format.
Yeah. But I mean, I think, you know, you and I did some mobbing, what, 2 summers ago with people who had editors that would just happily format files. And it was really annoying for us, right? Because it was like,
The only thing that was happy about that are the editors.
right. It's just like not a sane decision unless you know what the standards of the project you're working in are. And the only thing that says something like that is, a flake.nix that declares a nix funced entry point.
Okay. All right, and these will probably be gone soon enough, and then the other part of it is this key binding, which I also have a question about.
Yeah.
This simply disables or enables auto formatting. I wish, like, I don't know why it's called just disabled. Maybe it should be called auto format.
Yeah. Like the plugin is still enabled. It's just
Right.
not doing anything on save. Probably still even has a callback that just doesn't do anything.
And so by default we want auto formatting in this setup,
So this key binding you're looking at
Mm-hmm.
predates me being a Nixer.
Mm-hmm.
So like long before I had any way of knowing what the actual opinions of a project were, right? So
Mm-hmm.
at work, some of our repos were doing auto formatting, some of them weren't. I, as a human, just sort of had to decide what was appropriate. And I had other heuristics like if the auto formatting, if black, which is the Python auto formatter, is present in my path, then I'm probably in a virtual environment for a project that isn't forcing auto formatting, but that wasn't always true. So I needed a way to turn it off. Something I do a lot of when I'm a Python developer, you haven't seen this because we don't do Python together, is like I'll be in some Python project and I'll be jumping between like editing Python files that are owned by the project and jumping like editing third-party Python files for like if I'm debugging something weird deeper down. And I don't want to auto format those files because those files are like not my files and I don't want them formatted according to my project's rules.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's an issue with the nixfunct stuff because those files aren't. Nixfunct would invoke treefunct and treefunct would say, I don't know what to do with these files, I think, and I think it wouldn't format them. Or maybe it would. I don't know.
This key map is just a it's just a nice to have.
Yeah.
In case I ever want to hold on, something is not working properly, or something is strange.
Yeah.
Or I don't understand why this is formatted the way it is, so I can just turn off auto formatting.
Yep.
But okay, so by default it's on. So this is pretty straightforward, and here me using it. It's a leader. I set it as leader A. Auto formatting is off.
Right.
Formatting it on.
Exactly.
And it starts out as on because that's what LSP format does.
Right.
All right, so I'm happy with this.
Sweet. I'm glad it works for you. Or I hope it works for you.
Thank you.
I will look into the LSP restart thing.
I
Let you know
appreciate
if
it.
I learn anything.
So I'm going to close all this up, and perhaps you could take the helm.
All right. Now, here's the most embarrassing thing. After all of that, I don't have formatting on save working. So, gonna have to live in the dark ages when I'm driving. I'll start T open. All right. Do you remember where we were? Were we working on the NCI branch?
I'm sure we have it to do somewhere. But yes, I think we were in NCI, right?
Okay. I see these three things. So maybe we were in the process of.
Do you remember how we
Excuse me.
solved the uh, the documentation,
I think
the
so. We
package
had
doc, the
that
program docs?
bug with the apostrophe. That problem went away once we got it only building the crates we needed it to build.
Yes.
So I think that we sort of bypassed an issue.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yes, I think so. I'm okay with that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's take a look at these. I'm good.
See what I have cached, if anything. And here we go. Now, I would have expected there to be 4 of these. So that makes me think maybe we already did the fetcher, and maybe that's failing to build. And maybe that's where we actually left things. I'm going to go to integration.
I also remember saying, well, we should see that this works, that we get non-stripped executables.
Oh, okay, that's the fetcher right there. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to let the next like chug along, but we should have, I mean, we must have been trying to achieve this with a sort of module override pattern, right? Like I vaguely remember
Search
working
for
on that.
package equals.
Here it is. Integration test create locally. That's it, right? Package equals right here. Okay.
Yeah, that's a bit more verbose than what it was, but it's currently in main.
Oh, the
Just an
override
observation.
adders don't strip equals true.
Yes.
Well, I don't know that we got this working yet.
You could build just that.
Yeah. Create locally. So is this multi-threaded? How is this pegging all my cores? I
I don't
thought
know.
Nick's evaluation was single-threaded.
I see your cores are still big.
Oh, okay. Then who knows what's going on. Okay, Rust C is doing something. Okay, and things have calmed down. I don't know. Maybe my editor was doing something. All right. Integration create locally. Next build hash checks.
I do remember that when we first, at some point, we did test the not stripping. Somehow introduced a maybe even now there's a panic somewhere. Or maybe we started doing it, and so I think we want to place a panic in one of these programs.
Oh, I remember. Okay. Yeah. We spent like the last hour trying to make our program panic, which wasn't working because Rust Analyzer was broken for you. And presumably for me as well. And we were having a lot of trouble writing code that actually compiled because we didn't have tooling.
Really,
Does that ring a bell? Like something about Rust Analyzer?
I think I remember something.
I don't remember what was broken.
Well, we
You,
have bumping going on, so if it's working again, I'm not surprised.
okay, so should we rebase our branch
Oh, we
before
have
we
bumping,
look
but
into
not on
this?
this branch, right? No, we
So should we?
shouldn't. We should see whether there's actually a problem.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do something that we know is going to fail, right? Like panic.
This would get us unreachable code.
Yeah. And I think we started with something like this.
Yeah, but there's no way that it does indexing now, and then it won't tell you about unreachable code. That
Okay.
would be strange. but
It's not telling
it's
me
not.
about unreachable code.
Yeah.
That's certifiably strange.
Yes.
Okay. So I think this is the issue we had. We wrote a line of code like this. It didn't compile. We thrashed around a bit and didn't figure it out. So I do have type hints. Took a moment there, but you can see they just popped up.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So we tracked this down to something about Rust Analyzer, but I don't remember what.
We tracked it down.
Or, I mean, sorry, that is a way too
It's
grandiose way of putting it. We confirmed it's something about the dev shell. Like, we changed something about the packages present or the versions of packages present in the dev shell.
I, su- I suggest we rebase it.
Okay, I'll kill that.
And then if
I'm done. Git stash. Whoops. Git stash. Come. Okay, and then I'll do a git pull dash dash rebase origin main. Then I'll do a git push. That's 4 commits. I'll do a mob start. They git stash pop conflict, and that's fine. I'll just restore. I'll just remove the change to the flake.lock. So git restore stage flake.lock. Flake.lock. Okay, there we go. Any new dependencies? And we've got a completely different issue now. How exciting. Can't even build a dev shell right now. Okay. Do you want a rotate? Or, I mean, you had your screen going for a while. I'm willing to
mm-hmm,
keep going. Whatever you want.
rotate's good.
Okay,
Feel a
up
need to
next.
be engaged.
There you go. So we can't even build a dev shell anymore. Something about NCI changed, maybe?
The dev shell is not tested in CI, by the way.
Right.
We can start with introducing that. That's an easy improvement.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we could check if the dev shell even builds on main.
I think that's what's happening now. I just pulled main.
Okay.
So it evaluates because this is building.
All right. So this maybe isn't worth waiting for because it's not failing in the same way.
If we introduce a check, it's worth waiting for.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't feel like we've.
Okay.
It's not like we merged a PR that broke the dev shell. So
But in any case, right? It's good to
Mhm.
do checks dot dev shell equals config dev shell default. I think that's it, right?
Yep. I guess if we wanted to be cute, we could map over all the dev shells.
This, what you just saw, this reformatting,
Mm-hmm.
this is my first real, I didn't mean to format, I didn't expect it to happen. This is the first time.
All right. You're living the good life now.
I am. I mean, like, how many Nix developers have this? How many Nix users have this in Nix?
That's a good question. I don't know. We're on the
Soon
bleeding
it'll be
edge.
many more. Nix Flake. I want to enjoy evaluation cache on Switch. See dev shell check. Here's commit this. Dev sure. Dev shell fake check. Okay.
Okay.
And Nix Flake check. So this is not a package currently.
Oh, dev shell with a capital S, maybe. Or is it a lowercase s?
What? This is dev shells.default. Oh, dev shell. This is.
Yeah, I think it's capital S. I think lowercase is the numtide thing. Uppercase is the. It's a very unfortunate naming.
Okay, no, I am aware of that, but I guess you're correct in that this is what we actually want to check, right?
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on mapping over all the dev shells versus the simple line of code?
I know we have one.
Yeah. We're not planning to add more, so I'm fine with this. It's very simple.
And check. I think dev shell itself, numtide dev shell, could have this feature. But
like add this as a check?
Yeah, add all the dev shells as checks. Why not?
Yeah, that'd be a nice feature. They'd maybe accept a PR.
Check. Check. I know it's not the best way to search. Not animation discussion. Ideas. Idea. Flake part option to add
Dev shells
to make
checks.
checks. Make a check for each dev shell. Flake check for each dev shell.
Yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, this is chugging.
Love it.
Is there something about the Nix ecosystem that, and maybe there's something about flake parts in particular that caters to reusability, that greatly amplifies the effect of contribution. If I do something small like this,
Mm-hmm.
and especially if the option is enabled by default,
Sure.
could provide value to everyone, to many, very very quickly, very easily.
Yep.
So that seems to work, right? And then next Flake show. Checks. Dev shell.
Love it.
Good. And if we look
Love
at
it. Love it.
my dev shell, derivation, dev shell. Good. Okay. Switch main, merge, dev shell check, git push, and git branch d, dev shell check. Over to you.
Yeah. All right. So here's the
Rebase.
evaluation error. Let me get a timer going. So attribute dev is missing.
Do you want to rebase again? Or is that not?
We know it's not
Because
material, but I can
right,
if you.
because the first thing you evaluate without even trying is the dev shell.
Yeah.
Okay, can forget it.
So we must have at one point in time had an output, a crane output called dev.
This is a result of bumping
Or do you think it's talking about
NCI.
this attribute here or
Yes, I
this one?
think so.
Okay.
It's probably dev.
Yeah.
Dot dev, the static one.
Right.
But that's what's dev? That's the profile. That's a cargo profile.
Okay. And we turned that profile off or something?
What? Can you go to that? Oh, it's not ours.
I can still open it.
Can you go to NCI? Is this NCI?
Yeah, this is
Profiles
it on the
release.
left here.
We did turn it off. Line 10.
Run
Disabled.
tests. No, line 10.
Yes, because under
Profiles.release.
profiles there is only release and not dev. By default,
Oh, okay.
there's release and dev.
Do you think? Okay. Okay. Unless they fixed some other bug or behavior about merging. And maybe this is merging where previously it clobbered.
Well, can I see the code that's more of the context from the?
Like this code here, right here.
Yes. 259.
Yep.
Projects outputs. Raw shell. That is raw shell, right?
Hmm.
So this has to do with the feature that can you see where raw shell is used?
That's for
Dev shell. Yeah. So it seems like dev is hard coded there.
yep. This
Okay. So
changed
I think we
recently?
just need to bring back dev.
How?
It seems like it depends on it.
So what do you think changed? Why weren't
Something
we running into
upstream.
this before? Yeah,
Something else, yeah. We have we just rebased, right?
right. So do you think NCI previously didn't hard code dev, or we just still had this
You know,
dev attribute?
I think can you show us our usage of
Right here?
yeah uh you see line 13?
I do.
No, it's not it. I don't know why it worked until now.
Mhm. Okay. But the fix is to what? Like still have a dev profile somehow?
Yeah,
Like how would we do this?
that way. And
Okay.
then I think we need to decide whether to run like when build like we never build when we build we never build for the dev target with mix with
Mhm.
with cargo. When you do cargo build by default, you get I don't even know what dev is. I think it's called debug profile.
Okay.
It's no dev profile in cargo. So I don't even know what the heck dev is.
Okay. Interesting.
Am I wrong? Can you go like
Uh,
search for cargo profiles documentation?
dev release test and
There you go. Good thing I
bench.
want asked for the docs because yes, it's not debug, it's dev.
Okay. That's cargo terminology, not NCI terminology.
What's the default for run tests? I don't.
That would be under Flake parts. Cargo integration. Uh, profile run tests.
Yeah, I think it's not its own option. I think it's an option from maybe. Oh, it
Default
is.
is false.
Okay, that's okay. So that's why we have it specified.
So this looks a whole lot like the code I just guessed.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Let's try it.
Okay. There. Here we go. Yep. Yep. Building. I like the look of that.
Just a moment, please.
Okay. Yeah, we're in business.
Okay, you have a shell.
I do. So now
Ooh,
the question is, how does Rust Analyzer behave here?
right.
Open up this file. That dir env is interesting. I don't know what that's about.
Maybe identifying a route, a build route that is incorrect.
Mm-hmm. Is that a cargo thing? Build routes?
Uh, it's probably a Rust analyzer. Hmm.
Wow. Come on, editor. Right. This thing very much does provide a Rust analyzer. Not getting this from my system. Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't be letting this chug along at the same time. Kill that.
Build artifacts.
There we go. Okay. Indexing 1%. Sheesh. I wonder if this will be any different. One thing I noticed, I don't know if you're aware of this or if this is even a difference from how things work in main, but I did a build of API, and it built like an API depths, and then it built API. Then I did a build of fetcher, and it built fetcher depths followed by fetcher. And I think in main we have a single shared depths. Is that? I'm not suggesting we change this, but
I'm
does that?
skeptical about that.
Okay, I'm wrong about what's going on. I'm possibly wrong about what's going on in main.
Yes, because the depths are very much yeah,
Okay,
I don't think that's how it works.
I believe you. Okay, so we finished. My editor's finally quiesced, and it's not saying anything what's wrong here. Even though something is definitely wrong here.
Well,
so
it's
something's up with our dev shell. I don't actually know. The way that I've got Rustation Vim set up, does it can it get its hands on its own Rust analyzer if it doesn't find one in the path, or does it just do nothing if I don't have a Rust analyzer provided by my project?
good question. It's a good question.
Like, if I were to comment out this line of code, what would happen?
You won't have a Rust analyzer in the shell, that's sure.
Right. But from my editor's perspective, is this worth trying?
I think you won't have Station Vim won't be useful.
Is this an experiment worth conducting? Like, I don't really know where to start on this thing.
Yeah, the where to start on this thing, I think that's the best question. And you have a theory that maybe there's another Rust analyzer involved.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we weren't providing one in main, and it was just working because.
Hey, don't do the experiment, but do it a little bit more smart. Do LSP info.
Okay.
And see whether it's the same Rust analyzer as in your
Let me
glitch.
get another one going here during reload, and then I'll do a LSP info. Okay. What? That path is surprising to me.
Huh?
That looks like a weird path.
That's
Doesn't that
not.
look like a weird path?
There's nothing in that path.
I mean, it certainly thinks there is. DS3-APL Rust analyzer /alh/proc/exe. Yeah, I mean, that looks a lot more like what you'd expect, right? Some
There's
random
some
path and then so on.
unsoundness in how that path is resolved.
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Some NeoVim bug or something.
Which is ironic
Okay.
because I would suggested doing as this was to be the smarter thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So now I'm going to, in this dev shell where I do not have a Rust analyzer, I'm going to open up the same file. We'll see what happens. Looks like there is a Rust analyzer doing something here, right?
That's not what we want.
And that's an issue with our Rustation Vim installation, would be my guess.
Is it really
However,
Do I have the same problem? I have the same apparent problem, whether this has to do with it or not.
yeah,
But
I mean, this seems to be
it's
unrelated.
undesirable.
This seems to be unrelated, right? Because
what?
I'm still not getting a heads up about this issue here.
Well, we don't know yet that it's unrelated because it might be exactly because that Rust analyzer version has a problem. And maybe it is preferred over the one in the shell.
Yeah. Do you want to rotate or how you holding up?
Yeah, rotate.
Okay. All right. GD. So I won't commit this change here. So I'm just gonna revert that locally. GCO dot mob next. Nothing done. I'll release the screen. You are in charge.
I think first thing I'll do is take a look at my Rust analyzer. G. Pull this over here, pull that over there. Do this. And this infra. Rust station Vim. But I have nothing that has to do with the Rust analyzer package either.
Yeah,
so let's
but
take
I
a
wouldn't be
look.
surprised if under the hood it pulls it in conveniently for us.
A little too conveniently, huh? There's not flavor license here.
I mean, this has been my experience with every LSP that I've configured through NixVim is I add a line of code, I say enable equals true, and then I suddenly have an LSP server, without having to set up a dev shell that provides the LSP server.
Which is
And yeah, there
convenient,
you
but
go.
then you don't
You
have
found it.
control.
Yeah. So type null or package, so that's interesting. Maybe null means exactly what you want it to do.
Rust analyzer package. Well, even if it does have one, should it not prefer the project if there is one in the path?
It probably does. Or it seems it seems likely that it would prefer it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Just depends on how that's built, I guess.
So it's added to extra packages, which supposedly accepts null. But that's it?
That makes sense, right? So that's probably creates a wrapper for NeoVim that adds something to the path.
In which
and
case,
whether
which would win?
whether it puts it at the front or the back of the path is the question. We could look at what extra packages does.
I'm going to disable it.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
Okay. And go
And just
back.
for me and our and the viewers, the reason it's nice to have a project-specific version of Rust Analyzer is because it's tied to your toolchain and
It's
different
not.
versions of it.
It's not tied to the toolchain, and it's not part of the toolchain, but
Oh,
it is provided with the toolchain for strictly for convenience, exclusively for convenience.
okay.
It's not part like the toolchain comes from a source code. It's built from the same source code. I think, like for example, isn't Clippy in the same source code as? That's what I'm thinking. Those things are all developed together, tested together, and probably share some dependencies. But Rust Analyzer is not, and it does have some compatibility concern with the toolchain, of course,
Okay.
but it's not strictly coupled, and it's not even versioned the same. Does that make sense? It's not versioned the same.
Okay. But the way people generally get their hands on Rust Analyzer is just
No, it's
Rust
different
up
ways.
or oh,
It's
okay.
different ways. Yeah, it's only been about a year or two that it's available via Rust up at all.
Oh, okay. All right. So messy.
So I'm going to.
If only everyone was a Nix user, huh?
It's inevitable.
Oh. This is the way.
The way, the truth, and the life.
I mean, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not gonna argue with you, but I've been very wrong in the past about my predictions about what developers will put up with. I mean, when mobile development for smartphones started happening, I was like, "There's no way developers are going to stand for having to write 2 Fs for every, you know, for iOS and Android." They put up with that for decades and seem to
Some
still,
don't,
yeah,
and they do something else.
yeah.
So
Oops.
here's a Rust file, but I have a project Rust Analyzer, so I don't expect this to fail or something.
Mhm.
I suppose I should also do a mods. This
Yeah.
is in
If you go
main.
to it's Fetcher that we edited. The Fetcher main
This
has a
the
panic.
same problem was never reproduced in main, was it? Like that Rust Analyzer is not useful anymore.
Give it a check. Give it a shot. I don't know if we tried. I think we went to main and confirmed that it did work. But it would be good to reset my memory on all this.
Okay, here's a panic. Bada bing.
Yep, perfect. That's good.
Unreachable.
Yeah, so it's something we
Okay.
did in this NCI branch.
Switch NCI. Not start. Completed. No warnings. No nothing.
Okay. What have we done to our
Uh,
poor Rust analyzer?
yes. Good
There's
question.
just something missing from our path.
But also, I'll go to NCI and I'll make sure that there isn't a Rust analyzer.
Okay.
Just see there and reload. Couldn't have been. Rust analyzer does not exist.
And I wasn't paying attention. Did you deploy your change to your Nixvim?
I'm running it from
Oh, I
using
see.
Nixrun.
Yep.
Running it from source.
Lovely.
No Rust analyzer.
Okay. Just like you wanted.
Yes. So I'll restore that. Restore P. Not restore this, restore that. Then reload. So this is the fact that Restation Vim had its own either default or static Rust analyzer is unrelated.
Yes.
But to finish that conversation, I'm going to go over there and just commit this because I really don't want. No, I'm sorry. I think I do want a Rust analyzer, but I just want it not to be the default. I want it to be the default, not if the ones available from on the path. I want that one used.
Yeah.
And
So
I
that's an easy
don't.
experiment. We can, I mean, without even reading Nix code or looking at your wrapper, we can just, ls/proc and look at what the executable is.
Okay. So I'll restore this and not okay. I don't even have to restore this. I can use my deployed one. It's neovide. And then you had a brilliant way to. I already have one here. You had a brilliant way to.
You make me blush, Shahar.
Please share how something Proc.
Yeah, so you need to get the PID of this process somehow.
The neovide.
Yeah. I don't know if you have a convenient way of doing that.
I've bottom.
Okay.
I have two neovides.
Yeah. So I have like a script I use that when I click on a window, it tells me it's PID. I guess that's not an alacrity, right? That's an actual
I have this as
standalone.
Well. It's a window switcher thingy. What do you think those numbers are? I think these are sway IDs.
In X11, I would use xprop to do this. Is there a W prop for Wayland prop? Maybe.
What, like to see a tree of something?
No, xprop is like
Windows.
You run it, it turns your cursor into a crosshair, and then the next thing you click on, it gives you a bunch of information about the window. It's like X11 properties. So I'm just guessing maybe somebody created a W prop, which is analogous. And I was wrong. Okay. You could close your other neovide.
I'm going to move next this so we have this panic in. But okay. I'll rotate because nothing's stopping us from doing that.
Okay. So I have not reconfigured my Vim. So it still has the that default, possibly static package. And so the question we're asking here, I gotta go. I guess I'll start up fresh here. So Rust analyzer. I don't. Oh, let me mob start. And do we have a Rust analyzer right now, or is it Gonzo? Rust analyzer. Okay, we do. So here is the one we're hoping it uses, right?
Yes.
And what we'll do is we'll open up this thing. And that's probably enough. PS3-APL, and I'll use my little picker thing. That gives me the PID. See the Rust analyzer process right here. /proc, boom, /exe. And we can do which Rust analyzer. 9x1x. So they're quite different, right? Rust analyzer unwrapped, as opposed to this Rust analyzer here.
Can you use dev shell dir might be a symlink join, so I'm not
Okay,
convinced this is not the same.
good question. You're right.
Right about what?
So it is a symlink. Points to this. Points to this.
So you need to do real path for both of them. And see what
This is a bash script, so okay, it goes deeper. And execs this thing.
I'm not following.
Right.
I just trust that you do the right thing.
I'm following the symlink to the shell script, and then the thing that the shell script's execing. So they actually are the same. There's the 9x1xi. It's the thing in my path that ultimately runs, and that is the same as what NeoVim is currently running.
Good.
So that's a good sign.
Thank you.
I think it behaves the way you want it to.
Good. But Rust Analyzer doesn't seem to behave.
Yeah. So Rust Analyzer is not working.
It's not like completely not working. Can we like find out to what extent it's not working?
Yeah, so I've got type hints, which presumably come from Rust Analyzer.
Definitely.
I have these thingies, which feel like a Rust Analyzer thing.
Okay.
These thingies.
Uh-huh.
So it really feels like a...
Remove a character from a
lints.
method call and hit save. Okay, that's syntax problem.
Yeah, I didn't even have to hit save for that to happen.
What?
Is that because...
How? Rust Analyzer, okay, but it checks only on save.
I mean, apparently not. Like, here, I'm pressing
Maybe
X.
syntax is different.
And that's immediately...
Okay. So try removing one character of the method name.
Yeah,
See,
that's
that
fine.
doesn't work.
That's still fine.
Okay, that's not okay.
Sure. I'm not saying it's okay. Oh, so here was our attempt to introduce a crash, I guess. This was us trying to trigger a Clippy warning or something. What that was about.
You can remove, I think you can remove that. This was to make sure that Clippy works. That we disallow warnings in our builds. That was important to us. Oh boy.
So, I mean, I'd be inclined at this point to somehow crank up logging for Rust Analyzer.
Fortunately, you have some experience debugging LSPs.
What is this? File not found. Panic. Is this like it can't understand what panic is or something?
Mm-hmm. It's the sysroot, I believe it's called.
Yeah, do you see how that just happened? Like all that speed that just got printed?
Uh-huh.
The cargo feature failed to load workspace, failed to load project, blah, failed to read cargo metadata from blah, some blah, failed to run cd blah, rust up toolchain, metadata blah blah blah. That's the command that it tried to run. Cargo metadata exited with an error, failed to parse. So is this just not a valid TOML file?
That would be a simple problem.
Do you think this is something generated by NCI or Crane here?
What the heck is that? Rust lib source std cargo toml. That's just Rust std. There's no way that this is generated by a Nix thing. It's just Rust std.
But it uses this cargo feature called public dependency.
Well, maybe std can use it.
It says the cargo feature public dependency requires a nightly version of cargo.
Really?
This is the stable channel. That smells like our issue, right?
But we are using stable. So this is all supposedly supposed to come from stable.
We are using stable, and that's our problem, right? Or, I mean, that's what this thing says our problem is. I mean,
yeah, but there shouldn't be a mismatch. The entire toolchain. This is from the toolchain. The entire toolchain is supposed to be a single version. It's cohesive.
this is our cargo that we're using. Cargo metadata -- format version 1 -- manifest path is this thing. Failed to parse manifest app block. So it seems weird that rustlib_circ, whatever that is, would use a feature that requires nightly cargo. But were you saying maybe they're allowed to use stuff before we are?
Yes, it's well known that. Yeah, std and core. Yes,
okay.
They
So
use nightly
maybe
features.
whatever command's getting run here is just like not understanding that this cargo toml is special.
I wouldn't know how to begin to answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we just look at version strings, this is the Rust C183, right? And what is in that cargo toml? Does it say anything about itself? Or not? Yeah. What's in there?
A lot to go off of there.
It should be in the cargo toml.
Name std version 0.0.0.
That's a hack to avoid specifying version there. The cargo toml is at the root of that, or
looks like it, right? Here I am. Nowhere to go up other than next door.
so we build a shell, right? We can nix tree on that shell and see what's in there.
You definitely can. Nix build .hash shells blah. Guess I didn't even have to build it, but whatever. Nix store -q -tree
Nix,
result.
Nix tree?
Do you have a better way of doing this?
Nix - tree. And then it needs a relative path. This is like a gotcha. You need dot slash.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Nix tree is not a built-in. This is, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But
Give us a full
what
screen of this.
are we trying to see if that thing depends on this thing?
Yeah, and if whether we have duplicate things. How many Rust lib sources do we have here? And
I feel like this is going to be easier for me to answer that question. Like, here it is in
only
an
because you
editor.
haven't tried Nixtree yet.
Okay, teach me how to Nix tree.
It's
What
interactive.
would? Okay.
HJKL / the search. Probably a bigger window.
Yep. So there it is, and Rust lib source does seem to only show
So
up
the
once.
only once. And what is it from? But look, it's from Rust Analyzer.
Mm-hmm. Indeed it is.
It's from Rust Analyzer. And shouldn't it be from I think maybe this is kind of a backup one. So this this might be a backup Rust libs source because we all also do we have something called sysroot? What do we have? So in that Rust, we don't have to search. You can go into that top level. You saw the tool chain, right? Top level of the shell.
the tool chain at the top level of the shell. I'm
Yeah, the top one, Rust default.
okay.
So you can see exactly what it contains, right? It has Rust docs, it's Clippy, it's Rust firmed, Rust C, GCC.
Mm-hmm.
There's Rust stood.
Excuse me. Yes, Rust.
There's cargo. Now when you I think our problem might be that our Rust analyzer is too recent, or is it's nightly instead of stable. I think that might the Rust analyzer. I think that's probably the problem.
Okay. So
I've
you
never
think a
experienced this
Rust
problem,
a Rust
but
analyzer that isn't nightly would ultimately have a Rust stood with a cargo toml that doesn't have this feature?
e- um, I'm not sure about that. That's kind of because what I do find strange is that cargo, our cargo, is used with in this way, right? It's invoked with on this file, on this package, with the way that fails, the invocation that fails.
Yeah, there's this cargo metadata command, which is given a manifest path.
So that shouldn't happen, right? If it fails, it shouldn't happen. But how does it not happen? How does it usually not happen?
Well, either it's a different cargo being invoked on the same file, or maybe the same cargo being invoked on a different file, or,
Well
like you
put.
said, this just doesn't happen at all.
That's not what I meant to say. How I meant to ask, but it's well put. I meant to ask how does the error not end up occurring? But
Mm-hmm.
it's well put. Those three options.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we had, I think it's pretty obvious if we had a nightly cargo, then it would have accepted that feature, but we don't want the nightly cargo. We want a stable cargo.
Yep.
So Rustup does not bring its own cargo. That's for sure.
Okay.
So Rustup just uses whatever cargo is there.
Mm-hmm.
But the Rust Analyzer package in Nix packages seems to have a suboptimal dependency there. That what would we call this? Rust lib, whatever.
This thing, Rust libcirc.
Yes, Rust lib source. That seems like a suboptimal. I think it's. My guess is this is a Nix packaging mishap.
Okay.
That Rust Analyzer should not have as a dependency the Rust lib source that is requires nightly features. Of course, it's an arbitrary choice, but I don't think it's a right choice. And because this forces use of nightly toolchain. So if you had to use, if there was only one Rust Analyzer in Nix packages, it would be the stable one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want the nightly one, that there would be two.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. If we look at the closure, like I'm building API right now. If we look at the closure of this thing, are we going to see a Rust libcirc with a cargo toml?
I think those assets are provided, but the package is not called not named the same. I think it's part of the tool chain. What I think it's what's highlighted in your Nix tree right now. I think it's the Rust stud.
I don't think so. That only has, I mean, I guess I don't know this tool, but the way I'm reading this, it looks like it only has one thing.
Point. Yeah, but it is because like point. Go one left so that Rust stud is selected, and then look at the closure size in the footer, the bottom
Yeah.
panel.
Okay, so it's got a lot more in there other than that one file in blue.
It's the source of the Rust standard of the Rust stud. That's what it seems to me.
This doesn't look like source code. This looks like compiled stuff. Our libs, I don't know what those are.
Wait, how far did you get? How did you? I looked away for a moment, and then you.
So all I did is I copied this path here.
Uh-huh.
And I was curious what was inside of it, and I just started LSing my way down. I eventually got to this lib directory.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what rlib files are, but this is it. This is all Rust needs in order to use the standard library.
Okay.
I suppose.
Okay.
Some sort of an optimization, I suppose, right?
Yeah, sounds plausible. Yeah, like they're distributing a compiled version of the standard library or a partially interpreted version of the standard library. And like, I guess it also makes sense that like you don't want Rust C to rely upon cargo just to build stuff with stud, right? That would be a weird ordering, like a weird inversion of dependencies. Probably expect Rust C to be able to compile stuff, and therefore it can't be going around interpreting cargo.toml files in order to compile stuff, because like that's cargo's job.
There you go. Yeah, that reasoning. So,
all right,
if we're looking at a Rust analyzer Nix packages problem, then we should probably go to the issue tracker.
Well, okay. So this does work for us on main. So like
in main, we have Rust Analyzer from the toolchain.
Okay. And what do we have here? Is it not also from the toolchain?
From PKGs.
Oh. Oh. Okay. So right. Okay. So Rust Analyzer. Right. PKGs.Rust Analyzer. Okay. So would it to test that theory, would we be able to get our hands on the Rust Analyzer from the toolchain? Or is that hard to get our hands on?
I think we would have had Rust Analyzer from the toolchain if NCI had made it easy.
Right. I
Because
mean, could
I
we
already have had that preference.
Yeah. Do you
This
think like we
seems
can
like a
find
second
it?
choice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, can I find it by hand? Like, if I open up a shell here and do like which cargo?
Well, the a Rust toolchain. Some background about a Rust toolchain. Rust toolchain is typically a configurable set, and by default, for example, if you're using RustUp, if you're not using Nix, by default, RustUp does not include Rust Analyzer from the toolchain.
Okay.
So when you say, "Can I find it?" No, I don't think that the toolchain that we get from NCI
Just doesn't have a Rust Analyzer.
Yeah, I think it probably does not have Rust. And there will, I mean, there it is. I mean, you're looking at it, right? Like the shell has Rust hyphen default. That's the toolchain, and you can see its components there at the top of it.
Nice. It's got Rust docs, Clippy, and Rust Analyzer simply is not here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds plausible. Okay. So the problematic thing is Rust libcirc. So we'll see if that's mentioned in Nix packages.
Yeah, the title of the issue is something like Rust Analyzer uses nightly something, right? Nightly
Yeah.
stood.
Start here. That's
old.
way too old. Okay. All right. Rust Analyzer. How much is that? Valid path to Rust Analyzer build-ups. Rust Analyzer's wrapper shouldn't set this.
That's interesting.
All right, let's start there. It's about a read-only thing. We don't even have this environment variable, right? I guess.
We might. We might, and that might be the solution.
I mean, that's an easy test if we do equals and then vi.
But I don't think we have a package because remember what's inside there is not. I think our toolchain doesn't include that. Rust stud that our toolchain includes is not the source, like we saw as rlib files.
Okay. Old.
I think that is the issue. I mean, it's a very relevant issue because that is how Rust Analyzer ends up with the path to give cargo metadata, I suppose. Did you see the line where it says something about cargo metadata here? This causes various issues because Rust Analyzer tries to modify these sources by running commands like cargo metadata in the next door path, which is read-only.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
sounds
different
different.
example of how it fails.
You fail with an error about write permissions.
Yeah, ours fails earlier, so the problem might have manifested differently.
No, maybe. Okay, well, here we are. I started Vim like this, and ta-da, unreachable statement.
How exactly did you start it? What was the
Rust circ path equals.
equals what? Equals nothing.
Yeah. So there's a difference between having no environment variable versus having an environment variable set to empty string.
And
We
what's
have
the
no
log?
environment. Let's take a look.
We
We simplify things so we don't have too many Vims writing to the same file here. The info. There it is, right there. L-F on that file. Oh, that's not a good sign.
well,
Okay, so that was maybe just a red herring, but we are not getting the metadata error anymore.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, bummer. So let's read the discussion.
Well, I'm actually not sure. I think regardless of the details of this issue, I think the Rust source path. So yeah, Rust source path should be. I'm not sure. So when it's empty, I think that's just kind of a fluke. Like we're just lucky that it works when it's empty. But empty means empty. No, it's not luck. It's empty means it's many times it's the same check by the program as not defined, right?
Many times it's the same check by the program as not.
When a program checks an environment variable, many times the check is the same result.
Yeah.
Not defined and empty.
Empty string. Yeah, I mean the experiment we just conducted proves that something under the hood is treating not defined versus empty string definitely.
Why?
Because when I start Vim
But it's
without
defined. Rust Analyzer has it. It's a wrapper in which that is defined, right? The Nix package is Rust Analyzer. That's what the issue is about.
Sorry. Right. Yeah. Okay. So what that wrapper is probably doing is it's saying, if this thing's not set, I'll set it to something. Since it is set, right, there's probably some, that classic bash line of code that sets an environment variable if
What
it's
is
not
it?
already set. It's like
Colon
question mark,
equal.
whatever.
Okay.
I hate it when people don't use. Sorry. It's
Thank
frustrating when
you.
people don't use permalinks,
That's perfect.
especially in the Nix community. You'd think they'd care about reproducibility. Rust analyzer. Unwrapped.
Hey, it doesn't matter. We don't have to prove this. This is fine. You won't even see that because it colon something because there are tools to make that, right?
Yeah, make wrapper.
It's code generated by a tool. So what? And yes, it's unfortunate that we need to jump through hoops to just get Rust to work in Nix, right? But I think it's not Rust because Rust is working. It's Rust Analyzer,
Hmm.
right? That is not working. And what it needs to know is where, and it just works if you don't do, and if it's not if this environment variable is not defined, then it just works. Because I think what it does, and I think I even might remember the command that it runs to figure out this path.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can remember that. Try running something like rust c and then a flag sysroot.
Okay.
Uh, sysroot stood or something. I don't I don't remember, but it asks. It can be asked.
Dash print.
There you go. Take a look at inside there.
This does not have cargo toml.
It does not need. I don't think it needs. I think these are the, like well-known layouts, and it has stood in there. And Rust Analyzer
Okay.
uses that.
All right. So sounds reasonable. Um, so we can set this environment variable, or we can create a wrapper for Rust Analyzer that sets the environment variable.
Well, or set it to empty.
Right. But is it worth reading the discussion here to see if?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So Oxalica says
Oxalica, by
we.
the way, is the author of Rust Overlay, right?
I don't know. I believe it.
Which
I'm
we're
using it.
using, right?
Maybe that sounds
I
right.
think, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nix,
that's the
Nix
one
cargo
that mentioned
integration.
binary binary builds of Rust, and I was like, wait, what? And then I got a whole conversation about bootstrappable builds. Um, okay. Rust Analyzer for everyday development. I have not seen this error before. Cargo should not be run inside the std, and it would fail anyway because building std requires complex configurations and a nightly compiler. Okay, and that's what's happening, right? We saw it trying to build std and wasn't using a nightly compiler. Blah blah blah. Okay, my guess is you're trying to open it as a normal project rather than as a dependency library. Thus, it automatically runs cargo check ID. Screenshot. You seem to be using blah. If I remember correctly, there's a bug in vim lsp config trying to create a new Rust Analyzer session for dependency crates when auto start equals true. If that's the case, could you set auto start equals false and try again? Not using. We are. I don't know what Rustation Vim or yeah, Rustation Vim's using under the hood. Go to definition. Okay. It only works for me if you go to definition in a standard library, what file will be opened? I'm not using RustUp, so I have the same problem. This is a third person, right? Yeah, Oxalica, JJ, and okay. I have the same problem. Rust Analyzer uses library from next door. This is and from wrapper when it opens a file outside of the workspace directory, it spawns a new Rust Analyzer. Okay, so we haven't tried this yet, but if we go to definition on some stuff in the standard library, we might want to check that works in a sane way for us, I guess.
What?
Because what they're talking about here is going to definition and then ending up in the standard library, right?
Oh, yeah, which
If you
should
go to
work, right?
definition.
That's a feature.
Yeah. So we should check how that works for us. Okay.
But the point is that it won't work.
Yeah. So is there an unwrapped Rust Analyzer package we can just use? Like maybe we don't have to. Can we try that?
Hmm. Can you see the
Where is
contents of the wrapper?
Yes, let's take a look. There's our problematic line of code right there. This is the thing. I just did a GF on that path, which brought me to here, and that's where that
That's
problematic
just
cargo
wrong.
anomalous.
I agree with the issue. You can't. Well, it's a feature. Okay. It's a feature that forces every Rust project to set Rust source path. So it's a feature that if you don't set Rust source path, this supports like ad hoc Rust analyzer usage.
I don't even see
Or
how it's helpful though,
zero
because
config.
how's it help? Like you've still got
I don't know.
you've got what, a cargo from I don't know where, trying to interpret the source code of the Rust standard library, which is apparently very finicky to build.
I don't know. It's not our use case. It's difficult for me to say.
Okay, well, so now what I've done is I've changed this to Rust Analyzer Unwrapped. If I do a which Rust Analyzer, I do have one. If I cat it, it's a binary file now. So let's see what happens. That's not where a panic is. Where's our panic? Okay. Yeah, there we go. So that's a little cleaner than having to set an environment variable, right? And should we
Yes,
leave a comment
definitely.
saying why we're not using Rust Analyzer?
Yeah, just that issue. Yeah, like that issue.
Okay. I don't know if you want to subscribe to this, but I pay attention.
Yes, if you do that change and rotate, I'll pick it up from the code.
Okay, good call. Here we go. Wow, that's weirdly formatted. Okay, something happened to my tabs, I guess. Okay, get diff. So we've removed that thing, and then we've changed this to Rust Analyzer Unwrapped. Because I don't have auto formatting set up, and so embarrassing. Next. Okay, have at it.
I you now how did you do this? Well, it's not. It's Vim. Can I do this with Vim? Does new Vim have open thing?
I do it through Alacrity.
I know. I took that advice from him and
This is why you
with
shouldn't use
Neopard.
Neovide. A whole new
Yes,
set
but
of
then how
things
do
to
you do
learn.
this, huh?
I mean, look, I do hear you, Shahar, about when pairing and mobbing, it is nice to have animations. But outside of pairing and mobbing, I do not care.
Okay. GX. And now you know.
That's a Vim thing,
Yeah.
NeoVim thing, GX.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
For netrw, it requires netrw to be enabled.
Okay.
I don't even know what that is, but here's an
I
upload
wonder
for
if
you.
it's something weird about, like, what if you're opening up Vim over SSH?
Okay, but where the because I wanted to subscribe. So here is me subscribing, and let's comment on this. Putting your name here, so you need to confirm. Uh,
Pardon.
what's wrong with the word hindrance?
I do not know why it's not happy with it. Hindrance, like dancing.
Mm. How does this look to you?
Okay. For the reason mentioned above, that stable cargo errors on it. Yeah, I think that works. B.
Okay.
I think it's nice to at least tell other people that there is a package. They don't need to use that environment variable.
Jeremy,
Hello?
I can hear you.
What's up?
Why can I close an issue in Next packages?
You're a maintainer. I don't
What?
think GitHub has the granular uh, permissioning that would allow for that to not be something you can do.
Sorry, I'm a what? A maintainer
Yeah, you're a maintainer,
of
aren't you?
what?
Of Nix packages.
I didn't know that.
Your your name is listed on packages, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And I just don't think that GitHub has a permission structure that allows people to Like,
So I'm a member of this organization. That is what that's coupled with being a maintainer.
well, I mean, it's our permit. You and I have permissions on Nix packages. We don't have the permission to. We don't have the commit bit, but we do have like the metadata manage issues. And I don't know if we can close PRs. Yep, we can close PRs. I'm pretty sure I can.
I'm in the org.
Yes.
I'm one of 3.6K, and this is set to public.
Yes. You sound
So if,
surprised.
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this happened when you became a maintainer.
I guess
You were a
I
maintainer before I met
never. I guess it never registered in my memory somehow.
you.
So in my list of organizations, at least the public ones, I think this is not. For
This might
example,
not be
this
a public view.
I don't think it's I'm supposed. I don't think I'm supposed to be public. I don't want this. So can you? No, let's here. Private rising. There you go.
Nice.
I didn't know that.
That's so funny. I was like so excited to become a maintainer, and you had no idea you were one. Because I had like before Summer of Nix, I'd like had a couple of PRs out that I would like could have made me a maintainer, but they were wasting away. And then it was Summer of Nix that finally made me a maintainer of some stuff, and it's a big moment for me that summer.
All right.
But yeah,
So
don't close
that's
issues unless you have a good reason to close them.
okay. So that was my turn.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Okie dokie.
I'm back.
Hello.
So we're done with that.
I think our tooling works again, so that's a nice feeling.
Cool. So now we have the panic.
Yeah. Now we're just trying to get it to actually compile.
If you do this, then we have a bunch of unused items, wouldn't we?
I don't know. You have a lot more Rust experience than me. How do you
And
actually
we
write this?
oh,
Main,
just
it's
no,
not void.
don't. It's
What's that?
what's the Rust? What is the default? Like unit. The default is unit.
Oh, okay.
Just open close parent.
API main teen. Got a panic there that we don't need. But it does look like it's happy with this. Maybe that's the implicit behavior.
What is happy with what?
I mean, cargo clippy built.
Not sure. Fine, whatever.
Okay. So let's do a next build. Checks. Create local. All right. So here we are trying to override the API package.
It'll be don't use the test. I mean, the test you would see something in the system D.
Yeah, like it should be crashing over and over again, hopefully with line numbers. But do you have a different idea?
Not easily.
Okay.
No,
We're
it's
planning
yeah.
to add a just run the darn thing, right? That's coming after this.
Right. Right.
I'm not totally sure. I guess we need API and fetcher for this test. Okay, so that's why both these are building.
Take a while.
Yeah. It's past the
So,
depths though, huh?
what else is interesting?
Have you heard of the Playdate, a handheld gaming console?
That's a naughty name.
Is it naughty?
Yeah. Well, what's a play date? It's play date. It's a date. It's like a romantic date that is just for fun, or is it a children thing
Playdate
that is
to
being
me is
borrowed
like, yeah,
for
when
dating?
parents organize a time for their kids to meet up and play.
Hmm.
Not a naughty thing.
Okay, so it's a cute name,
Yes.
and it looks like a cute device.
Yeah. So it's
Is
got
it?
this.
No way. You can charge the battery this way. It's like,
No, that would be
what is
fun,
that
wouldn't
then?
it?
What the heck
That's
is
just
it?
another. It's an input device.
What kind of
It's
an
a
input?
crank.
Who needs to rotate? Oh, come on.
It's a total kooky little thing. But
Y-
uh, my
It's
wife's
such an
brother.
arbitrary input device
Oh yeah.
that,
I mean, they were
like,
just like, we're gonna build this, so let's do something silly. Like I don't know what the logic behind it was, but it's like they weren't going to compete on graphics or processing power, right? So it's like some Kickstarter project, and it's anyways, my brother-in-law brought this on our getaway last week, and I had heard of this thing, and I was like,
hmm
I've always wanted to like. I was like, I
what?
did graphing calculator like development in high school, and like I always wanted to like write a game for a Game Boy, but like didn't have the hardware, it would take to do that. Because I like learned assembly for the TI-83 Plus calculator, and then that processor, the Zilog 80 processor, is the same processor they used in the Game Boy. Like I always wanted to take the games I wrote for the graphing calculator and run them on Game Boy, but I never got to do that. So, anyways, last week I got to play with this thing and write some actual code for it, and make a silly game with my nephew. So that was a lot of fun. It was so easy. It was like all in Lua too, which I like
This
kind
is
of
a
know my way
modern Game
around.
Boy.
Yeah,
Does it run
except
Pokemon?
what's that? Sorry,
Does it run Pokemon? Does it run Game Boy games?
I don't know if anyone's gone to the effort of porting Game Boy games to it.
Wouldn't
Um,
they need to be ported?
I think so. I mean, it's not like this is using a completely different processor. I don't know what its
So what is
processor
it you
is.
said about the Zilog something?
Oh, I was just explaining. It's always been a dream of mine to write a game for a handheld gaming device
hmm
other
But
than a
this
graphing calculator.
doesn't have the same. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that was a poorly. I was jumping around it, but I was just like, I always wanted to write a game for like a handheld gaming device other than my
hmm
graphing calculator, and so I finally got to do that last week, and it was very satisfying and a
Huh.
whole lot less work than writing assembly for a TI-83 plus graphing calculator. This was just like write some Lua and connect this over USB, and bada bing, bada boom.
But does it run Lua?
It does. Yeah.
Cool.
You can write C games for it if you care about performance or whatever. You can write Lua, and I looked, and there are some people who do Rust development for it with their own whatever.
So is it any kind of open?
I don't know what the deal is with the operating system or the hardware. Their SDK.
It has large screws, bolts to open it with. Look at those
I don't
bolts.
know if those are meant to be user serviceable.
Come on, it screams open me.
Yeah. I, I I don't know. I haven't researched it. I just like it happened to be there last week, and I was like, I wonder how hard it would be to write, like, just draw a pixel on the screen, and then I was like, okay, maybe let's make something interactive. So that was my totally random thing that I worked on last week.
Thanks. That's cute.
So, how about you? What's new?
Oh, look, it's stripping.
Yeah. Okay, so this thing has run, and did it? No. Oh wait, we're still building. Okay, I'm so confused because like Postgres has started. Is this just part of running tests?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I saw that the NixOS had booted up. But here we go.
Now it's happening.
Now we're talking. Alrighty. Okay, here we go. Aww. No line numbers. That did not have the effect we wanted.
Will on main, will it show us line number?
I think so.
Rotate?
Mob next.
Start 7. But switch to main. And edit something. What am I editing? API main. Panic. Now we will have warnings, right?
Hopefully. Wait, warnings? Like, we should have a
That
panic.
get turned into errors, right? So it will fail. Yeah, warnings that apps lack meta description. Yeah, you can't afford. You cannot afford any of this, right? Did you see that? What I'm doing in my. Ooh. Yeah, so apparently this machine can be okay. Abort on next config abort on warn true.
Oh, I did see that in your config. I like that. Does it do what It sounds like it does.
It does, except that these are only evaluation, like typical normal evaluation warnings
Mhm.
with lib lib trace or something. I'm not sure. Now there's built-ins warn, right? That's what this is
Oh,
relying
is
on.
there a new thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Built-ins warn. Yeah, that is. This is rather new,
Oh,
and Nix
cool.
packages probably already switched their lib warn
Got it.
helpers. So this is, but sometimes there are other warnings that are not just built-in warn. They are, like, for example, flake schema. Make sense?
Yeah.
Like Nick Flake show. I'll get some warnings here because some of my
Yeah.
things are not in the schema. So it's not all of the possible warnings that you could have.
That's annoying. I mean, it makes sense to me that those are like a very different type of warning, but I also agree with you that I would rather just treat them as errors.
Well, yeah, but then go figure how to. Well, I don't see the warnings now.
Yeah, I mean, I think unknowns, it's like if something's a package but isn't actually a package or something.
Well, I've seen those warnings. I did. I saw them. Maybe this has to do with evaluation cache. But anyway, yeah, that's the
Mhm.
report. That.
Okay.
Okay, what do we have? What do we have here? Explicit panic.
Yeah, we'll need the full logs, I think, to see this.
How do I? Shouldn't there be for a full log? See this here.
Yep, it's right there.
Panic.
Yep, panicked out line.
Uh, uh, but where's the stacker? Well, we didn't reach an XOS test.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There.
How did you reach an XOS test?
I think you did. This is the first. Good question.
How could you
Very good question.
possibly have reached? Because the executable itself of whatever it is we changed does not. It's not covered by
Did you change
integration
API or
tests.
fetcher?
API.
Okay, I changed fetcher. That's why. I
Okay.
don't think we have a more realistic
Yeah.
unit test for the fetcher.
All right. So, yeah, we have line number here. We don't have a trace though because it's a different kind of
Yeah, I don't think this
context.
was a real. This doesn't really test the thing we were trying to test.
Well, it doesn't.
Well, I mean, this isn't.
Okay. So let me change. Let me restore and test fetcher main. Such a hack.
Anyhow result return value needs to change or something.
Don't think so.
Oh, is
Nope.
anyhow's present anyways. Okay, cool. Makes sense.
Wait. I think Marathon analyzer is not working. I think I should reload here. No, in main it should work, right? But maybe it wasn't started from main.
Yeah.
I think that's better. I shouldn't have any how result. But another moment. No, I should because this is one of
That's
the
a
traits
fully
in the project.
qualified path.
Okay. X check with big L.
Yep.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I already saw some errors. What do you wanna?
Yep.
What do you wanna
Didn't
do?
kill it or whatever. And then you scroll back, has it?
Okay. Not this, right? I think we might have scrolled past. Maybe the word panic is not there.
There we go. Yeah, those are fetcher main
Well,
line numbers. Yep, this
the
looks good.
only this is the only part of it that's in our code.
I mean, I see it mentioned like backtrace line number 5 or stack number 5 also mentions our code,
Oh, good.
which is great.
Okay,
This is
this
exactly
is
what,
main,
and this is very different from what's happening on our branch.
right? And I will. Do you want us to rotate, or do we need the power now?
I think, I mean, what are we going to be doing? We are going to be doing full
Happening
Nix
in our
builds.
branch. So why? Yeah, I don't. I will rotate.
Okay.
We thought we overrode something, right?
We certainly thought we did.
Take a
So
look at what
let's
we're doing there.
do a mob start 7. Great. And this is the command we're running. We have fetcher main totally panicked out right now, and create locally, which is what we're running.
But we are
Then,
overriding the
oh,
API package.
API. Oh no. Good eye. Okay. Fetcher package equals this thing. Okay.
Well, don't override it with the API.
Yes. Okay. Let's try that on for size. Compiling. So I'm not rebuilding the depths. Go us. Go NCI. Go Crane. Go Dream to Nix. Go something.
Mm. So what do you want to do in Tiger Sprint?
Uh, um, it would be nice to, you know, have this in a state where we're happy with it before Tiger Sprint and work on something new. But if we're not done with this, I'm also, you know, down to chip away at this or work
Totally.
on something completely unrelated. Um, yeah, I haven't thought about it.
It'll be less ergonomic than right now. Less ergonomic,
Sure.
but more. But everything around the actual work will be more fun.
Right.
So much fun.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, what have you worked on past sprints?
There is the Elko project.
Whoa, that's quite a name. Is that the, I don't know what this is.
Take a look.
Is that what it's called?
It's
Oh, this is
under.
your project. Ah, this rings a bell.
Mhm. I think you'll find it under Modus Operandi.
Opus operandi? Is that a
Mm-hmm.
org?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mickey Elko. Oh yeah. What is the status of that? You were working on this for a while, like 2 summers ago.
It's not useful yet. That's the status of it.
Okay.
It needs some more design and some more implementation.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a high impact project because it would
Yeah.
allow writing documentation for Nix to explain how to use Nix much easier. Like this is the missing tool.
Yeah, I agree. Like the Python ecosystem has this, and it's super cool.
So that's one.
Yeah. So right now the documentation in Nix packages is just not enforced. If there
Mm-hmm.
are REPLs in there, it's just okay. Cool. Yeah, that sounds super cool. I'm super down.
Another one is a project that has nothing to do with Nix, so I think it's not a candidate. Take it back.
Yeah, I mean my totally non-Nix project that I haven't worked on at all is the checkout, like the Git checkout project that I've been talking about for a while.
And there's yet another idea that. So what is your Git check?
This is the tool I use. I've got an alias to
Oh,
CO,
I remember.
and it sounded to me like you are willing to use it once it exists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Save a few keystrokes.
Yeah.
Another one is a flake part module that allows specifying Git ignores. The way
Mm,
so imagine in each flake part module in your project, you'd have separation of concern. So in each module, you'd have some you might have some Git ignores, and it's so so the source of truth for what to ignore would live in Nix instead of
and how exactly
in a
would this work?
static dot Git ignore.
The
Excellent
shell hook would
question.
update it and then people would see that it's changed or something.
A shell hook, yeah, a shell would require some shell, and the shell hook would simply place those in your .git info exclude.
Oh, I see. So not have a version controlled artifact.
Yeah, they don't need to be checked in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think the set of people who care about things like that is probably, it's not all Nixers. It's like just the Nixers who care about really like not having stupid cruft in their projects, which I am like you. I like to have minimal BS. There are other people who are just like happy to just copy the massive git ignores templates that float around the internet as the start of their new projects. So I agree that the Elko, I think the Elko project would be higher impact.
Oh yeah.
But I think I'd be more interested in the Elko project.
Well, it's also an existing project, so
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm also like, down to see what people are shopping and see if there's, room for two more to work on something. But I do feel like this Elko project's a good primary project.
do we have an answer from the test?
I don't know. Let's take a look. Aha! Beautiful. Main RS line 2. Yep, we did it. Good job, team. All right.
Okay.
I'll rotate. Up next.
Now we have to talk about how much more expression this is.
Yeah. Pretty nasty.
But it's not ours. It's
Yeah. We could abstract it. We could like add a pass through that does this or something. I also wouldn't like necessarily be opposed to just only providing something this. Yeah, I'm not sure our users would benefit from the current default behavior. It feels like it's only going to hurt the quality of bug reports we get. And it's not like we're dealing with like performance sensitive code.
okay, but that's unrelated. We would still, this is not about just unstrip. It's just about being able to control the override stuff in the build.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is we haven't really documented anything about overriding. And I'm saying maybe we don't have to support overriding. Maybe we could just pick a sane default and just, that's it. And for people who, desperately care about minimizing the binary size, they'll either figure this thing out or they'll submit a issue asking for this, and then we'll be like, oh wow, we have a user who cares about something like this.
I agree it's an acceptable alternative, but I'm not sure we're looking for an alternative at the moment for the purpose of NCI.
I mean, what do you want to do?
Just consider that this is a breaking change for how to override.
Yep. And I would argue that this wasn't part of our public API. It's a detail. People had access to the details. And so it's possible that they did something that's now broken. But we never documented this. That said, I'm
Well, it's
fine to
also
call it a breaking
broken at build
change.
time. It's not the actual program.
Yeah.
And you don't. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Did the other way fail at build time? Override adders?
It's not a build, it's an evaluation. You don't
Yeah, sorry,
have
at
that.
evaluation time?
That
It
doesn't
would have.
even exist.
Well, wouldn't
Override
that have just
adders.
added a new attribute?
No, what? No. It's
Okay.
a function call.
Oh, override adders didn't exist. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's nice. So yeah, I'm from a Semver perspective, I'm fine calling it a breaking change. And from a are we okay making a breaking change perspective, I'm also totally fine with making the breaking change. But if you feel differently, I'm okay
I'm
with that
fine
too.
making this breaking change.
Okay.
I'm not sure about versioning. Whether this is a breaking change, Semver breaking change. I tend to lean toward yes, it's Semver breaking change. What's the problem with that? I think there's
There's no
I
problem with
don't
that.
yeah, I don't mind having a version 10.0. I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I definitely don't care.
So what remains is to copy paste this everywhere.
Ooh.
Check out p main rates fetcher sort name. Yes.
Okay.
Strip. Don't strip. No, just why you're stripping. I don't need your. You know the song?
Nope.
Don't tell me 'cause it hurts. No. No doubt.
No doubt.
Right? No, don't
Is that a
speak.
band?
Don't speak. Mm-hmm.
That is a band.
No more to dos.
Love it. That is a PR, sir.
Let me do a mob next and expect check. See what happens. MTV that I had growing up in Israel
Yeah.
was MTV Europe.
Okay.
I don't even know how significant, but I think MTV was significant in North America.
I certainly heard of it when I was a kid.
You
I
heard
did
of
not
it?
watch it.
Yeah. Well, when the country is larger, you have more TV channels and so on.
Well, it was a cable channel, and we did not have cable broadcast television.
I had exactly two music cable channel, MTV and what was it? VH1? What's called VH1?
That name rings a bell.
So after this passes, we it's funny, after all this work, I don't think the diff will be a large diff. This
Yeah,
is
hopefully.
just some modifications in the Nix code, which is funny considering how long we spent on this.
Yeah, this
I
was a
hope
long.
we made some other developers' lives better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if NCI is a successful project, we played some role in that. It's a good feeling. Hopefully, it doesn't fizzle out in a year or two.
I don't want it to fizzle out. I want it to switch its backend to, or maybe to Crane to switch its backend to.
Right.
Oh, we still have this in place.
I thought we got rid of that. Maybe I didn't mob next or save or something.
That's in SD Crates API. Nice. Maybe this.
By doing the next flight check on your machine, I think is going to be the winning move. I can look at the diff if you want, though.
We can. Uh, yeah. Okay. Let me move this then to another stream. It is next in.
Okay. Mob start 7. Get diff t NC. All right. From the top. Lock file changes. Unsurprising, the crane changed. Phoenix shows up, Phoenix disappears. Weird column stuff, I think. This is the right-hand side. So, like compat2 got added. Not the most surprising thing. Dakra loves his projects. Got another repo here. Dream to Nix. NCI. Okay. Here script. That's something that parses lock files, I think. Here Nix. It depends on Slimlock or something. PyProject.nix, which parses Python TOML files. And Rust Analyzer Circ disappeared. Rust overlay got added. slim lock, and that's it for the lock. Okay, that all smells reasonable. Crane goes away, NCI gets added, Phoenix goes away. Oh, sorry, I tried to mute. Okay, Clippy next. Great utils both disappear because that's stuff that's now handled by NCI. There's NCI. Okay, great. API default.next. So previously we had this build workspace package helper function. That's gone now. It's lovely. We now have, we just define, I guess, the crates are auto-discovered, so we're just
Next, like
configuring.
check passed.
Wonderful. This seems reasonable, and this also, I remember doing this. This is so we only get the docs for the things we want.
Can it be in a single merged literal?
No.
PR tracker API is twice.
No, this is dash
Under
config.
NCI crates. Oh, it's hyphen config.
Different crate. So, yeah. There we are promoting that to an actual package, which is lovely. And then we add it as a check, which we had before. And we add Clippy as a check. Doing some weird dance here to, I think we spent a while on this, but I don't remember what this was about. All targets isn't the default or something, and we had to override the build phase due to some issue. Did we end up reporting that, or do we think this is actually just right and the way the world should be?
I don't even remember that this is necessary. We need, so those build flags.
I
think we did.
Was that these like made it down into the build phase after the dash, or like there were duplicate flags.
Yeah.
And it was all like, why are we even running Clippy on the depths? And it seems to me like there's some...
Clippy could be a single invocation for the entire project as well.
Yeah.
That's
so we there's some will weirdness there.
Report. And we should just report. And okay. As soon as it's merged, we will have like a clean branch where everything works and workarounds are apparent.
As soon as this PR is merged,
yeah,
we will have a clean branch.
A branch that is not work in progress. That is, it happens to be main as well. And so the author of NCI can take a look and see, okay, this is already actually in use, and here is an ugly workaround.
All right. So should we add a to-do to file an issue?
Yeah.
So I just put it in code, or do you want me to file an issue?
I think we should do it after, because it's a little bit benefit when it's already in main. It's more compelling.
Yeah. I just, how are we going to remember to do this is what I'm asking.
Here, I'll put it on paper.
Okay. You're writing it down?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Clippy.next
Give me the
disappears.
line number for this or something.
Line 22 of modules API default.next.
Got it.
Right. This is very satisfying to see these two files go away. These were evidence of the need for a tool like NCI, so this is just lovely. Love all this red. Just scrolling right past all of it. It feels great. And then here we are. DB context. Pretty minimal change. We aren't building a dev shell ourselves anymore. We're just setting up drv config, and then, I don't know, we shovel this into the shell somehow, or it happens for us. Did we ask NCI to do that for us? I can't remember.
It does that.
And we asked them to do that, I think. Is that right?
Oh, right. Yes, we have. Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
cool. So, see, we made the world different, hopefully better. Dev shell got simpler. I guess we're enabling the dev shell somewhere in nci.nix. Like a bit of an weird thing there. It's like, should we actually be enabling the dev shell here?
maybe.
Uh,
Maybe.
philosophical question to
No, I
wrestle
think you're
with.
right. I think you're right. It makes more sense here.
Okay, let's make that change. nci.nix dev shell. So
I
that's
think it's
this thing
just
right
the
here.
criteria is specificity.
Yeah. So just to make sure, we're talking about this. Wait, NCI is under per system. Per system dot, and it's the numtype dev shell.
Yep,
Like that.
like that.
Do you care join or not?
I don't mind.
Leave it alone then, and I'll delete it from here. Okay. So that's changed. Okay, we stopped at modules dev shell. I'm going to rotate. Next. It's all you. Excuse me. I don't think I hear you.
Right, sorry.
Oh,
Starting.
much better.
Div FCI. Dev shell. Here's the chain.
Okay. Like, looks good to me.
Yes. Modules, fetcher, default.
Okay. So we're not threading around this environment variable anymore. That feels great.
It's only here. We don't have this. We don't even mention package here, and we mention here. Looks fine.
Yep.
Alt and oh, this is great.
Gone.
But so this is that, and this is that.
Yep.
Crates. This is just meta main programs preserved.
Yep. And the
And do
docs.
not exclude from the documentation.
Yep.
And the fetcher is the release package of that.
Yep.
Under checks, we have this Clippy workaround. So we
Same
this
Clippy thing.
duplicated workaround,
Yep.
fetcher and API. Not very nice, but it's a workaround anyway, so I'm not inclined to try to duplicate this.
Yep.
API, this is the integration test. There should be very little change here. It has to do only with this.
Yep. The don't strip thing. I agree.
Why do I see it like, oh, wait, there's a different test. So here's one test. Shouldn't this be yellow?
I think there should be 4 of these.
This is yellow.
Yeah,
Oh,
who knows
this
what
is
that's
yellow.
about.
It's just okay.
Oh, that's repeated context. Okay.
There's another one. And this one. And here's MCI.next.
Love it.
Get us the Flake module. It's all in per system. Project default path. Profiles, dev, and release. Only release run tests.
Okay.
Clippy profile release. Well, in this case, we don't need that. We can delete this line.
Okay. What was it doing? And
Because we didn't have dev. By default, it's dev. Because we didn't have dev, we needed to set it to release.
okay, but now it'll use dev, and that's okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Got it.
That.
I like deleting
Issue
lines
the
of code.
next like check over here. DRV config and Rust flags deny warnings. That's probably existing, by the way.
Oh yeah. So should we get rid of that?
I mean, in main we also deny warnings. I hope.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not. Warnings. Here. Yes, we are. See that? That's in main.
Yes.
Export false is the default for packages. And then we set. I think we don't set export true for anything. We explicitly specify our packages. I have an error.
Bummer.
So we were in NCI. Let's check. Oh, it's this cannot. No, I don't know. Let's see. I'm sure what this is about. Here. What is this? Card artifacts not set. Will not reuse any card artifacts. Running place. Link to next. Line setup hook. Line 13 CD target. No such file or directory. It must have to do with this removal of this line. I think it might be necessary. Maybe. Let's see what like parts profile. Oh, the default is null. So yeah, we need one. So which should it be now that we do have dev? I think it should be dev.
Okay.
So let's try that. That looks better.
All right. Love it. Love it.
I wonder whether it increases the number of. Whoa, that does not look better.
CD target.
And with release, I wonder why I don't have cache for all this stuff.
Some environment variable we changed or something?
I don't know. I just this was released and then dev and now it's released again. Okay, that's better. And another NixOS test. Boom.
Love it.
If we were here, dear vconfig and Rust flags, deny warnings, export false dev shells, default dev shell packages. Rust analyzer unwrapped with a comment. Tree fund programs Rust fund enable true. The toolchain from the toolchain of NCI. Program docs. We used to do a crane cargo doc in main. That's what we do in main, and specifying two packages. But now we have to do this weird workaround where we use the docs output of NCI, and
Yeah.
we're piping config NCI outputs through other names, and then we map those names to adder set to add, then list to adders to an adder set. Map those names to an adder set, create names, and then exclude from project docs, let make default true. That's possibly another workaround we should share with the author. So I'm going to write that down as well. Another workaround NCI workaround docs. Docs, and that's the end. That's the end of it. Are we good? Jeremy, did you? Jeremy?
Sorry.
No problem. So here is the. I think we saw everything. Here's the commit.
Okay.
Chore, use Nix cargo integration.
What a chore.
Overall, it's not a big change in the code. Breaking change, package override mechanism from Nix packages replaced by that of Dream to Nix.
Yep.
but it's not a package override because you're not overriding a package. We're overriding like the build instructions of a package.
I mean, it's called override, right? Like package.override adders is what you use in Nix packages.
Maybe we can use those.
I would just say like see changes in and link to a test for an example or something if you are worried about people being confused.
No, I just want to write the right thing.
Yeah, I just feel like this is using words to explain it is less clear than just showing people an example, maybe.
Mm, I don't think anyone is using this, so I just want to get a
Yeah.
few words right, and that's. Is there a better like not package override mechanism, but packaging override derivation? Derivation
What is does the word override have some other
override,
meaning?
just override, not package, just override mechanism. Yeah, because you can override a package in the NixOS modules.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's
I just don't feel like that has
not what
exclusive ownership over the word override.
sure. So how about override mechanism from Nix packages replaced by that of Nix?
Chip it.
Is it okay that there's a line break here? I don't think I ever did that.
Oh, that is a conventional commits question, and every single conventional commit I've ever written has been with you.
So breaking change needs to be at the end.
Hmm.
So I think that's the reason that it's okay to break lines.
It needs to be at the end,
Yeah,
but now it's not at the end.
it's at the end. It needs to be the. Oh, there's this.
I wasn't even thinking about that, but sure. Okay,
Let's try this.
but it still doesn't feel like it's at the end to me.
This section needs to be at the end. This needs to
Okay,
be the final section.
all right, sounds good.
Okay. All right. So switch main, merge ECI. Okay, I don't want to merge. Git merge board. I actually want to git merge rebase. Can do that. I need to rebase it. Just rebase it. Switch ECI. Git rebase main. Syntax error.
Got the conflict.
Modules dev shell. There's a check, right? I'm taking this check,
Agreed.
putting it.
Yep. Put it at the bottom there, and I think we're good.
Here.
Great. I guess add config as an input. All right. Love it.
Next, like check should have everything cached. This doesn't change anything.
I agree.
but it's doing something. Can you explain that?
Nope. Well, we rebased. What did that pull in? An additional check. So maybe are we, no, that's not the check that's right. I don't know.
So the API and fetcher are being built again. That's not Nixie.
I don't.
Well, if this passes, we just push it to main.
Yeah, big moment. Then we get to call it a year.
Good, yeah, good ending. That we get to finish this year. NCI.
And then I don't know if you saw, but I'm gonna ditch tomorrow's session. Rachel and I will be vegging out, enjoying New Year's.
Okay. I'll try to make myself useful.
But yeah, and then I guess we can get back to it next week and pick up with. I guess we'll be creating the playground to actually run the darn thing, and then we'll do the open API stuff.
Yes. So the open API. Yeah. I'm looking forward to doing those things. This passed. So switch main and git merge
Awesome.
CI and git push and git branch delete and CI. Git push delete origin and CI. Git branch delete and CI. Do it!
Woohoo! It is done.
Nice.
Great.
Wow. Thank you very
Glad
much,
that's
Jeremy.
done. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And join us if this seems like any kind of fun. Shoot me a message. And be well, everyone. And Happy New Year.
Bye.